When a patient is first admitted here, they're escorted by the sheriffs. They arrive in the Sally Port. At that point is, in effect, a handoff. The patient now becomes custody in the Forensic Psychiatric Hospital.
One of the distinguishing features which is different for the Forensic Psychiatric Hospital as opposed to other psychiatric hospitals is the legal component. Our patients are held here under a court order and an order by the British Columbia Review Board. And this is a distinguishing aspect of treatment and care and custody at the Forensic Psychiatric Hospital for patients.
Part of the admission process is just gathering a history from the patient so we can address any medical concerns at that point.
Before you say anything, first thing I'd like to do is let you know that you have rights under Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I'd like to get you to have a look at this. What we do is your clothes we're going to be washing, putting away for when you go back to court, and we'll be issuing you with some pajamas initially, just a brief period till after we're done with the physician. Once you get to the ward, we'll give you some proper clothes. Okay, you'll be wearing our clothes. All of your clothes and valuables will be locked up while you're here. Andrew, I just want to get some clothes for you here. You look like you'd probably be medium. So if I can get you to take these, we'll just head off to the washroom here and get you cleaned up. I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Sharifi. This is Andrew. He's just come in.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sharifi. How are you?
Hi.
Can I get you to have a seat up here, please? Just going to check your blood pressure, okay? Get you to pull your sleeve up, if you don't mind.
There are 4 units, each has 22 beds, and then there's 3 seclusion rooms on each unit. This Ashworth 1 is the remand assessment unit. Ashworth 2 is the start of the treatment patients, to give you just a quick synopsis of that. Each patient that is admitted here is assigned their own bed where they have a closet for storing their toiletries and their unit clothes that they get assigned when they're admitted here. Each unit there's 2 handicapped washrooms and then 4 regular washrooms. There is a smoking room for those who smoke. There's actually a couple of televisions where patients can engage in viewing television. There's also a quiet room where we have books for them to read if they choose to do that also.
I'm Emlene Murphy, and I'm the Director of Clinical Services here. So I supervise the psychiatrists and the general practitioners. We have 7 psychiatrists, and we have 2 general practitioners. And the psychiatrists are the persons who head the teams who look after the patients who come in, and the physical care done by our GPs. Sometimes in the assessment phase, a psychologist is asked to see the individual and do some psychological testing, which uses written and verbal tests to draw conclusions about the person's particular psychiatric problems. The patients who are in the hospital can receive a wide variety of treatments. This depends on the particular diagnosis the patient has, and when the patient initially is admitted, there's an analysis of that person's symptoms and a kind of a conclusion that's known as a diagnosis. Many of our patients have a diagnosis of schizophrenia. From that, then, is developed a treatment plan which can include psychotropic medications and can include different kinds of supportive interventions by various people on staff and different other programs in the hospital which can support the person as he receives the medication. And then, at regular intervals, the person's symptoms are monitored and improvements are noted and adaptations are made in that treatment program.
He first banged his head on the nursing station window and was taken into seclusion, and then he ended up banging his head while he was in seclusion.
We're having a treatment planning conference, And essentially it's our way of reviewing patients here at the hospital. Essentially at our meetings we have the core members of the treatment team, which is the attending psychiatrist, the social worker, and the case management coordinator. And we talk about treatment plans, treatment regimes, whether or not they have any concerns, the patients have concerns, and plans in reintegrating them back into the community.
Andrew, how you doing? Hi. Sister, we had heard from the nursing staff that you weren't doing too well, and were banging your head on the window there, and so we wanted to check to see how things were going.
I'm okay.
You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
What made you do that? Were you hearing voices telling you to do things?
I don't know. Frustration, I think.
I happen to really like my job here. And the reason for it is because as a chaplain, I am permitted and allowed to enter into people's lives on a daily basis.
So Andrew, do you have any family here?
My mother's just in Maple.
My job is one, to assist them in meeting the needs of their own spiritual lives. And so in that way I'm a non-denominational person, and so if you're a Buddhist or a Christian or a Jewish person or Muslim, we try to at least let people know whether it's diet or we can call somebody for you.
Oh, and love, you'll learn the mystery of what you were meant to do and be.
My name is Colleen Calderwood, and I'm the alcohol and drug counselor here. I offer a variety of alcohol and drug services, everything from group treatment to individual counseling, as well as community discharge planning to the alcohol and drug services in the community, making referrals and helping to bridge the gap for our clients when they're reintegrating into the community. We have 3 treatment programs that are group-based, and they are a variety of programs, everything from an educational program to a dual diagnosis program where they're unsure whether they have a substance abuse problem, but they want to come and get more information about drugs and alcohol and mental illness and begin to explore their perception of their substance abuse or use and how that affects their mental illness. So why don't we start the group by just going around and checking in with everyone?
The rehabilitation process is one of a cascading process whereby the security aspects are reduced as the person becomes more stable and is able to exercise that independence. The initial programs that we would have would involve vocational department, whereby we would look at some job training. That may be some of our patients, for instance, are interested in woodwork. We have some in electronic recycling, we have some in handicrafts, we have some in pottery and so on. There's a wide variety of program activities available. We have a very active schoolroom because many of our patients, of course, have had interrupted educational processes, and so the schoolroom is very popular. There's a significant emphasis on computer training. Now that may be very basic in many ways, but that, of course, is very much a commonplace factor in modern day living, and our patients, of course, are no different from others in that respect.
There's a wide variety of programs here. We do a complete leisure assessment on them, and in conjunction with the treatment team, we will meet the program that best fits the patient's needs here at the hospital.
Well, this is a transition, and they go to the community from here. So they've basically gone through most of the rest of the building, and then they come here to medium security. It's independent living, so they are expected to do their own laundry, do their own cooking, do their own cleaning. They do their own budgeting for shopping. They are expected to do all of their own independent living. It's a transition to go to a boarding home.
When we're looking at stages of reintegration, when they're going out on visit leaves into the community, we connect them with the closest clinic in that region. Take, for example, if a patient was going to a place in Vancouver, we would ask a representative from the outpatient clinic in Vancouver to attend our meetings, and we give them information about the patient and plan for them going back out to the community.
Hello. Hi. Hi, I'm Dr. Kerr. Hi, Andrew. Andrew. Would you like to take a seat, Andrew? Sure. Good. I'm going to be your psychiatrist here at the outpatient clinic. And you've met Peter, who's going to be your case manager. Yeah. And he'll be seeing you about once every week or so to start with. and I'll be seeing you every 2 to 3 weeks.
The review board process is a semi-judicial process. It's the board itself is chaired by a lawyer who has provincial court judge status. Another board member is required to be an expert in psychiatry. Usually the third person is a paramedical person, a social worker or psychologist. The Attorney General is represented at the tribunal by senior counsel, and their role is to protect public interest. The patient himself is represented by legal counsel, and they can have other expert testimony brought forward. They can have their own psychiatrists bring forward testimony. Submissions are made by the hospital in relation to the mental condition of the accused, any risk that they pose, and any recommendations for future management.
Yes, as a parent, you're looking for the best support that you can find, and the hospital is sometimes the most necessary need to be in hospital for a short period of time. Here is one of the best we have in Canada. The medication they produce here for the clients that are in need to find out exactly what they would need to become a better citizen again, and sometimes be a lifetime of medication. But it'll be a start for the community able to help these people for the rest of their days. There's no way, if anybody went through the feeling of horror that the parents go through, which I went through, and everybody will know that if had trouble, how horror it is. So we need to definitely have hospitals for their support. We could never run a system without having them a proper hospital.
Our hope is that as people have come to us, that we'd not just take care of their symptoms or take care of their chemistry and then let them go, but we want to make sure that we've tried to reach the whole person. And so that as they leave us, we can pass them on to other people. And we know that they may need assistance in certain ways. And it's in seeing that that we understand that there will be a bumpy road ahead, but that there's places where they can go, and trying to keep on developing programs that will meet needs of people who live for the rest of their lives with a chronic illness. And that's the challenge, because they keep living, and they need to find that humanity. And that's our role, is while they're here is to help them, and then to look ahead and to be able to say, now here's somebody that you might want to connect with when you're out there. And also to keep the communication lines. I get calls from former patients, and because they just want to know, am I still loved? Am I still accepted?